In the summer of 1993, the air in Bellwood, North Carolina, hung heavy with heat and secrets. It was the kind of small town where everybody knew your name, where the local grocery store still used handwritten price tags, and where folks left their front doors unlocked because they trusted their neighbors. But under that postcard-perfect surface, quiet things festered. And for Sarah Whitmore, the quiet was deafening. Sarah had been married to Daniel for nearly 10 years. He was a mechanic, good with his hands, strong-backed and silent. The kind of man who believed hard work was the answer to everything, and who never asked questions when he came home to a clean house and dinner on the table. He loved his wife, in the way a man who works too much and speaks too little knows how. But Sarah needed more than stability. She needed to feel seen. The trouble began in late spring, when a man named Travis Reed rolled into Bellwood driving a dark blue 1987 Camaro with blacked-out windows and a radio that only played classic rock. He opened a used car lot just outside the city limits and spoke with the kind of charm that felt both dangerous and disarming. Nobody quite knew where he came from, but rumors quickly spread. Prison time in Florida, a fight club in Atlanta, maybe even mob connections out of New Jersey. No one asked too many questions, and Travis didn't offer answers. Sarah met him by chance. Her old Buick was stalling again, and Daniel was too swamped at the garage to get to it. She took it to Reed's lot, not expecting much. Travis flashed that slow smile and offered to take a look himself. She didn't know what caught her attention, first the confidence in his walk or the way he said her name like it was a secret. He fixed the car in under an hour and didn't charge her, said she could pay him back some other time. At first, Sarah convinced herself it was harmless. A conversation here, a coffee there. But Travis had a way of slipping into her thoughts when she wasn't looking. And as spring turned to summer, their meetings grew more frequent, more private. A room at the old Pinewood Motel became their haven, secluded, dusty, and far enough from downtown that no one would notice her car parked in back. The motel manager never asked questions. He just handed over the key to room 6 and looked the other way. Sarah began to change. She wore lipstick more often, played old vinyl records while cleaning the house, and stayed up late reading novels with folded corners. Daniel noticed the changes but didn't comment. He chalked it up to her just getting into a phase. He was wrong. What Sarah didn't know was that Daniel had secrets of his own. The garage had been struggling, and to keep it afloat, he'd started taking work under the tablano, questions asked, repairs for men who didn't give names and paid in cash. One of them drove a black van with New York plates. Another had a scar across his jaw and a suitcase full of untraceable bills. Daniel didn't ask where the cars came from or what they were used for. He just fixed them, took the money, and went home. By August, things began to spiral. Travis had started hinting at a future leaving town, starting fresh somewhere out west. Sarah was torn between two lives. One filled with familiarity and guilt, the other with fire and danger. And then, one humid Tuesday evening, she came home to find Daniel sitting in the kitchen with a loaded revolver on the table. He didn't say anything, just looked at her, eyes sunken and red-rimmed. She froze in the doorway, purse slipping from her shoulder. The air between them crackled like static. She didn't know what he knew, but she knew he knew something. That night changed everything. Daniel didn't sleep. Sarah lay awake beside him, heart pounding. The next morning, he left early, didn't say where he was going. She called Travis in a panic, told him something felt wrong. He told her to pack a bag. He said they'd leave that night. Sarah hesitated, but when Daniel didn't come home by dark, she drove to the motel. Room 6 was empty. Travis wasn't there. No note, no message, nothing. She waited for hours. Midnight passed. Finally, she drove home, confused and shaken. The next day, police cars were parked outside the garage. Yellow tape fluttered in the breeze. Daniel's business partner, a man named Roy, had been found shot inside the office. Daniel was missing. The investigation stretched over weeks. Sarah was questioned multiple times. She told them she had no idea where her husband had gone. She cried convincingly. The sheriff, a grizzled man named Hutchins, didn't believe her. But with no evidence, no witness, and no motive beyond money, there wasn't much they could do. Then, 2 weeks later, Daniel's car turned up abandoned in South Carolina, not far from the Georgia border. No sign of him, no blood, no fingerprints. Just an empty shell with a single bullet hole in the windshield. They ruled him missing. Officially. but no one in Bellwood believed he was still alive. Sarah stayed in town, collected insurance, sold the house, took over the car lot after Travis disappeared for good. Some say she moved to Florida. Others say she still lives quietly in a rental on the edge of town. She never remarried, never spoke of Daniel again. The Pinewood Motel eventually shut down, and room 6 was boarded up. Every now and then, on muggy summer nights, the people of Bellwood swear they hear the sound of a Camaro engine revving just outside the old lot, and sometimes, in the rearview mirror, a figure in a dusty denim jacket flickers for just a moment before vanishing down the road. Whatever really happened to Daniel Whitmore, no one can say for sure, but the town remembers. And Sarah, wherever she is, still feels the heat of that long summer, the weight of what she chose, and the man she left behind.